Well, it's good to see this ongoing enthusiasm for virtual reality. And today I'm going to talk about the implementation of serious VR and the added value of having virtual reality in our businesses, because I believe that we can achieve an added value for any kind of business you guys are working in. So they gave me a new clicker. Let me see if that worked. Yes. So oh, my slides are a bit off, but they managed to write my name wrong like 20 times. But my name is Moelard, and I am a virtual reality developer at the Virtual Dutchman. Me and my team, we create virtual reality experiences for construction, culture, education, entertainment, engineering, and, well, training. So I'm going to talk about how we can enhance our virtual reality experience. And the way I'm going to explain that to you guys is to see how the brain reacts to virtual reality experiences. And, well, we maybe can use that behavior to implement that in our VR experiences to get that added value. So to do that, I'm going to show you guys how the basic brain works. The basic brain consists out of the neocortex, reptilian complex, and the limbic system. These parts all resemble the reason, the instinct, and the emotions. So what I'm going to dig deeper in today is the instinct part, and we're going to see how virtual reality and the human instinct behave together. To do that, I'm going to tell you guys a short story about how I experienced presence for the first time. So presence, what's presence? It's the feeling of being inside a virtual reality experience and having the feeling that it subconsciously triggers you that you really are there. You're just forgetting the whole world outside of this VR experience and just believe that that virtual world, it could be a movie, it could be generated, is real for just a split second. In September 2014, I went to Oculus Connect, the first Oculus Connect in Los Angeles. And there we had a keynote of the CEO, Brendan Ereep, and he talked about presence and how we can achieve this kind of feeling with this new technology they had. And, well, I got very excited because, yeah, I like VR, it's my passion, and I really wanted to feel that feeling of presence because I always develop these worlds, but they never feel real to me. Day in, day out, I had that big VR headset on my head, and, well, I wanted to feel how it was to be in that world and just believe that it was real. So the CEO talked about how they had this new virtual reality prototype. Back then it was called the Crescent Bay, and that device might trigger some kind of presence feeling. So I got really excited and I was like, do you have this demo slots? Yeah, we have this demo booth with the thing set up and you can try it. And I was like, yes, let's do that. So they had a couple of demos there. It's like a series of demos in like 4 or 5 minutes. And one of them was a demo with a dinosaur. Many of you might even recognize it. The ones that have an Oculus Rift CV1 might have seen it. And yeah, there it is. It's basically you're standing in a large hallway, almost post-apocalyptic kind of museum. And you hear this big footsteps coming around the corner. And you're like, oh, what's that? And then a big T-Rex jumps out from the corner and walks towards you. Well, I'm a big fan of dinosaurs, so it got me really excited. And it walked towards me, and I was like, oh, this is cool, this is cool. And it started roaring with this big jaw. And then it looked at me with this big eye, and I was like, okay, how can I break this experience? I want to see the limits. I want to test out, can I break this model? Can I look inside of it? So I wanted to take a step forward and see the dinosaur up close. But when I wanted to take that step, my body froze, and I took a step backwards. And just think about that for a minute. My instinct came between me and the virtual world, telling me, you don't want to take a step towards that dinosaur. It was almost like an instinctive response to what was happening in front of me. So basically, my mind was fooled, and my body reacted in what it would be like in a natural situation, because you don't want to have this dinosaur in front of you and you just want to run away. So if we think about this kind of behavior, and clickety-click, there it is, we can maybe use this kind of behavior, this instinctive response, to enhance our virtual reality experiences. Because in some circumstances, it's good to have this natural reaction because a natural reaction is almost like an honest reaction. So I wrote a line, knowing how you would react in an emotionally intense situation requires you feeling that emotion. So let me just take a look at a few examples of modern day applications that might benefit from using virtual reality and using this instinctive response to make a difference in that application. So the first example that I have is fire safety protocol safety training. I don't know if you guys know how this goes nowadays, but in Holland, basically you're going to a parking lot, they have this machine on fire, and you extinguish the fire with your fire extinguisher. Good job. Now you can save lives. It's not really a good situation where you can anticipate on how you would respond instinctively. So imagine using a virtual reality simulation where you get scared, because, well, when your house is on fire or your business is on fire, you get scared, of course, and you can behave more like an instinctive way and, well, maybe get scared and save it. And let me quickly take another example. I got another example called for engineering and decision making. Some businesses, they create these large, complex installations of large volume. And you have all these tiny bits, important bits that are just as important as the other bits everywhere around, and you want these to make these bits easily accessible. So imagine using virtual reality as a kind of a navigation tool for people to walk through that installation, and maybe that outputs a heat map, and from that heat map you can see the impracticalities from that model. Maybe we should move this valve over here, or maybe someone could get injured because there's a heat pipe going over there. So this way of naturally walking through that model and seeing this kind of heat map being created, that could really help and, well, reduce the risk of injury. Also in a decision-making process, virtual reality can easily make a 3D model insightful, because most of the time, if you have a decision-making process and you have a lot of people with a lot of different opinions and you think you understand each other, that's where it gets wrong, because most of the time you don't understand each other and you just start shouting your opinion. So a basic 3D model in virtual reality can also give a lot of insight to these people and maybe make the decision making process a lot faster. So if you want to work with virtual reality, if you want to implement it in your business, I have a few side notes I collected from my years of work in virtual reality, and I wanted to share them with you. The first one is being, do not use virtual reality as a novelty. We've all seen this happening at maybe huge conferences or people starting to use virtual reality just for the sake of using virtual reality. Our booth is the best because we're using virtual reality. In a couple of years, virtual reality is going to evolve in some kind of communication platform. We can all see that enthusiasm here of virtual reality. We really want it to succeed. We're already searching for all these added values. And if you're using it as a novelty, you're going to make no innovation at all at the end of the line. So please think about that. Also, make sure you understand the basics of 3D. If you have a 3D model and you can analyze that quickly, you can also see where you need to put all the optimization to make it run in virtual reality. So even if you're a programmer, please try and understand 3D models, like vertices, all that kind of data. Just try and understand it, just the basics of it, because maybe if you have this multidisciplinary team, which is my third point, the programmer that also knows 3D can solve the problems himself. Like if he has a model and something's wrong with the UV mappings in Unity or in Unreal, then he can solve it himself and see, okay, that's the problem, and the model doesn't have to go to the 3D artist, and that can really up your pipeline a lot. And the fourth point is just buy a VR set and start experimenting. The best ideas for VR come in VR. Because when you're in VR, you can see what's happening, you can see what works, what doesn't work, and that really makes a difference. If you have a big team, or you are working for a client, please make sure that everybody in your team has tried virtual reality and tried high-fidelity virtual reality, that is. Because they're going to start shouting ideas, especially if you have a long concepting phase. It's just shouting ideas, and then when you haven't tried virtual reality and they try it, it's like it doesn't work at all. So with that last, a point, I wanted to show you a quote from Confucius, which is tell me and I will forget, show me and I may remember, but involve me and I will understand. So I hope this talk had you, solve some problems for you guys and give you some ideas. It's really tiny. You can find me at Tim Moelard, and my email address was also there, but it's gone. Well, thank you guys, and I hope you have a great day.